Late, and I apologize for starting late, but we're gonna get you out early. Just work with us. Time to begin our afternoon meeting at 4:02. At this time, we call ourselves to order. Larry, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Well, thank you,
Or
Mayor.
let me see what the schedule is.
Well, that's fine, Mayor. What I'd like to do with yours and council's support is to introduce Pete. We've asked Pete to give, in the design team, to give some insights on the Center Theater and Science Center in terms of some of the I guess, more aesthetic elements, and
Yes, sir.
aware of those items before we get too far along.
Yes, sir. Mayor, Council, Manager, Attorney. Just coming before you, giving you an update of where we are construction-wise on the Center Theater project. We are probably a little behind from where we started. We had some issues with weather, issues with some soil, and issues with gaining an easement. But as of right now, we're still looking at an end of the year opening, December 12th. It might get pushed back a little bit, but we're still looking kind of the end of the year, first of the year for an opening of the theater. So what we're showing you tonight, real brief, is some of the finishes on the inside, so you can see the direction that we're moving forward with. And we do have Mealy with Clearscapes here to kind of walk us through this. Our partners Clearscapes have done a phenomenal job, not only working with us on the design and the construction, but holding our contractors' feet to the fire. As you know, there's so many moving pieces with construction and renovation. It's nice to have a company, and we have two really good ones that are holding our builders' feet to the fire. So we are on schedule and, more importantly, on budget. So with that, I'd like that Neely to come on up and share a little and walk us through our panels with some of our design choices and the rationale behind some of them.
Should hit this one?
Yeah,
Should
just
this
hit
one?
that.
Okay.
Should work.
All right. Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Millie Hazelhurst. I'm with Clearscape Architectures and Art. We have a pleasure to work on this theater renovating. One of our pride and joys is to renovate the old existing building and make it into a 21st century as best as we can with the budget that we have. And so with that, these are snapshot of last week construction as to date that we have. So as you know, if you walk around the site, there will be always site ongoing utility progress and everything. Put in pipe and foundation and piers. We run into some really bad soils that we did not anticipate. Therefore, we have put in a lot of efforts to have our subcontractor, our contractor, our technical engineer, and our structural engineer try to put all our heads together and push this thing moving forward. The next slide is still showing some of the foundation piers already done installation. And this one, you can see last week we start putting the strip footing for the new addition in the back of the theater. And the drone, you can see overall of the entire site work of the project. This one we move into on the inside. This slide is showing the event lobby that adjacent to the theater. Right now, that building you all know as an insurance building. And so inside this building, we have a dividing wall between two smaller buildings, used to be. And in order to make a connection from that insurance building to the theater lobby, we open up that dividing wall. So as you can see in the picture, there are a lot of scaffolding and steel putting in. So this one is, if you remember, the theater lobby, the original theater lobby, is have very low ceiling when you first come into the entry. And with that, currently now we open up that lobby ceiling. So when you go, you will have a compressed entry, but then when it's gonna open up 2-story high lobby volume. And this one is taken from the theater lobby that make connection over to the event lobby over the insurance building. You can see two big, large openings that we have established. So we are moving into the auditorium, framing, flooring wall, putting it in, all the infrastructure of HVAC, ductwork, sprinklers, you name it. And we're moving on to the stage area. So the stage was too low, and we tried to improve the view of the theater user with a better view. So we raised the stage, and so everything down below is reframed. As you can see, this one, and they start framing the joists on the stage. And the stage ceilings are very low. It was no movie house. It's not going to be able to house all the equipment, AV equipment, all that needs for the function of a theater. So we pop up the roof. You can see holes with steel framing filling in. And this one is when the deck start, cover. And the drone view, you can see how we pop up the roof just enough so that we can bring in ductwork, sprinkler, all the rigging and everything that's required for the stage. And now we're gonna move to the fun part. Finish. I think Brian and Pete have a lot of fun picking this out. So for the exterior, such an iconic piece for the whole town of Monroe, I think. People have a deep relation with the, I'm sorry, this one skipped for no reason. And so what we do is we try to stay clean, elegant, and quiet for the front facade. The marquee is gonna be restored. We open up a lot of storefront, bringing light and connectivity from outside and inside. So the, you can see the, on the exterior, you see the storefront with the dark brown color, lower concrete curb in front, and to stay neutral with the existing front facade over the existing building. On the theater facade is the existing circle, and so we're gonna patch, repair, repaint with new open storefront, as you can see. So color is stay very quiet and simple. If you go around on the addition in the back for the left tiny image, you will see we have the CMU wall with the mirror, and then the darker color for the corrugated roof. Keep it quiet. These are just color of the existing theater's wall, so that you can see how it's married together. We're not trying to match, because every time we try to match, but it's never match. For the location and the time, I give up that game. And so the sidewalk in front of the theater and that stage, we will have a new sidewalk with a paver, like probably about 3 inches wide, 24 or 18 inches long, and it's gonna have opportunity of engraving of donor and whatever that really important to the city, to dedicate, whoever dedicate for that you wanted to. For the interior, it's very simple. You can see that this whole color scheme. You can see the spark of pink color. That's because it derived from the reset entry with the existing terrazzo, gray and pink color in there. So we try to connect it, make a conversation between old and new, and that's where it came from. we move into the inside, you will have wood floor on the theater lobby and events lobby space. You can see through the large opening. Every time you have an opening of the existing wall, you will have a darker wood floor, like a walnut color, to emphasize that existing used to be there, and we remove it for a purpose, but we still celebrate the remnant of the existing, what used to be there. Also, we use the dark wood color to highlight all the step changes when we get from one elevation to the next elevation, so that people hang out in the event area and have a glass of wine. You don't want to tip over with the wood floor. And so the palette is very simple. You have a ceiling with wood board and wood slash ceiling with acoustical panel, and let's see what else. When we move into the restroom area, what we're trying to do is stay very simple and quiet and elegant. That's what we're going for. We don't want to go for a trendy color that will out of date very fast. And so you have marble threshold, you have dark color tile floor around 12 by 24 tile size, and then you have light color gray of the tile on the bathroom wall, and then you have a black plastic partition, and then for the counter you have custom made cast black concrete for the lavatory. And when you move into the auditorium, you will have a carpet floor. The carpet floor, linear, derived from the wood slat ceiling that we have used in the lobby. We want to connect that and bring that language into the auditorium space as well. And you have plywood for the stage, which is, that will use that. And then it won't stay with that color because for the long-term maintenance, I'm sure that all the theater consultant will tell you that, painted black with a certain kind of paint for long-term maintenance will be better. And then you have wood door, theater seat with darker color, like walnut color, which is go along with the walnut color that we use for threshold, for step, and for the monolithic stair that we open up and bring people into the balcony above. Seat fabric. I think that's about it. And if I move further, right now the contractor is trying to push their schedule as fast as they can, make up for the time lost, because I already mentioned a while ago, we have bad soil that we did not know or anticipated, and so we try and move everything. It's kind of hold off us a few weeks, but we're gonna try to move, help it move forward in the area that we can, and try and make up for the time that we lost. And so the new footing is gonna go in, and the addition, as you can see, the orange bar that I have on the left key map corner, that portion of the addition to the theater is really important. We try to get the contractor to try to move as fast as they can, because that's housing all our electrical, our fire, everything is going to that box. And while they're working on the existing, renovating the insurance building and the theater, these pieces right here is a really important piece for them to expedite as fast as they can. And then you will see rub in is going to happen as soon as that's done. So right now, we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen next when we know that the foundation wall's gonna go in soon, within a week or two. So that concludes my presentation, a snapshot of where the Center Theater is as of last week. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Mealy's being a little modest with these choices. I will have these in my office, and I can walk you through them a little better with some of the images. But Mealy and their design team have really done a great job picking out quality products that will match, will blend. There's so much that goes into everything from the outside, walking in, it's all relational, and it all flows. And I just want to say thank you, Mealy, for her and her staff for doing such a great job guiding us through this process. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And again, I will have these. And I know some of you haven't been to the theater in a little while. I'd love to set you up and kind of go on through. They do have a good bit of scaffolding in there right now. So maybe in the next week or two, if anybody wants to go in there, you could just show up. But if you give me a call, we'll walk you through, and I can give the super and everybody a heads up that you'll be coming. So happy to answer any questions. And we will have further presentations later on, but just wanted to kind of give you guys a glimpse of where things are at and what's going on.
Any question on the Center Theater? If not, Pete, update on the Science Center, please.
If you give us 1 minute, I'll let Tarek and Emily get their stuff ready. While they're getting that ready, I'll tell you a bit about that. So, again, Science Center, really unique project. We've got a fantastic company out of Charlotte, Morrisburg. Tarek and Emily will be sharing insights with you. Again, priorities, keeping it on schedule and keeping it within budget. So I think you're going to see a little different approach than the more reserved and refined look of the theater. You're going to see a whimsical, colorful, happy, crazy-ish scheme that's made for children and made to be an eye-opener, made to just be neat and fun. And again, we're on budget, we're on schedule. Our super and the construction company were actually in here just paying some tap fees, so that's always good to get things rolling. And it's exciting. We're looking at probably a little after the first of the year opening. Construction should be done by the end of August, but we need several months to get exhibits in and get things rolling. So we'll have a firmer timetable as soon as we get closer with the construction. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tarek and Emily and let them walk you through it.
I got it. Yeah. Good evening. Appreciate the opportunity to be here to give you an update on the Science Center project here. Let me turn off the lights so you can see this a little bit better. I'm Tarek Hamid. I'm from Morrisburg Architects. As Pete mentioned, we're based out of Charlotte. With me today is Emily Miller. She's the interior designer on the project. So kind of flipping through this relatively quick. In 2016, you all entrusted in Pete and Brian to put together a couple fun projects that are going to help downtown area really start to foster this as a cultural hub, a place where people want to be and want to stay after 5 o'clock. So in that regard, we kind of chased the project. Well, we're based out of Charlotte. We do a lot of K-12 work, a lot of community college work. So it takes a team, a really skilled team, to do a project of this caliber. So at the time, we found a museum planner and architect out of Boston, Werner Johnson. So we have a strategic partnership with them. They're kind of that specialty component to give you a project that really fulfills the needs. They have the expertise for that. In addition, our local MEP and structural is out of Monroe as well. So we got that team together, and when we started construction, or when we started design, the first meeting that we had, we heard clearly from the mayor that, we got one shot at this. We have to get it right. So we really took that to heart, and through each component of the design, looking at being good stewards of your money in addition to giving you a good return on your investment. Unlike the theater project, it's an adaptive reuse, so there's less historic renovation, restoration. Thankfully, the city had already gutted the building, so there was less unknowns. We didn't really open up walls because there wasn't any walls except the outside. So if you haven't been down there in a while, I'd encourage you to go. What you're not seeing right now is what's going to happen on the outside of the building. Hopefully you've been refreshed on kind of what that might look like. It's very colorful, it's very playful. It's designed to invoke discovery and excitement within the toddler to teen age group. So it's really designed for that the children of Monroe and surrounding counties. It might be kind of hard to see this. This is the site plan that we had schematically. A big component of this is Pete's UC 123 that we're still trying to figure out how we get to the site. But it's going to be a clean site at the end of the day. There's a couple old out parcel buildings that are in the process of being demolished. I'm sure you're aware of that. So this is going to help open up the view from Franklin. Technically, the project is addressed on Windsor Street, but you do have that tripartite with the church and the library and now the Science Center. We really hope that this helps foster kind of some growth in this kind of section of downtown Monroe. Getting into the plan, it's pretty straightforward. It was an old grocery store, so it's kind of brick shell with some walls on the inside. Not much was left, as I mentioned. So the heart of this project is the exhibits. You come to the Children's Science Center and you're there to play with exhibits. What we're trying to do is create an environment such that those exhibits are the focus. So we made sure on the interior that we didn't have too much visual noise to distract from really the core of this project, which is the exhibits. So those get located in the center of the building. Your typical services are on the perimeter. So toilets, there's a multi-purpose room that's leasable for birthday parties or such. There's also a temporary exhibit space that could be leased after hours for corporate events. In addition to there's workspace and offices, everything's kind of looped around that perimeter to help pull some of the daylighting into office spaces and workrooms. We did maintain the original location for the entry, so you'll still, from Franklin, be able to see that main entrance coming off of that now wide vista that'll be created. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Emily to talk about the interior concepts, and then we'll also get into the finished boards. Again, you'll see in these boards that they are a little more colorful, but again, we're trying to develop a palette that kind of goes to the background so that the exhibits go to the fore.
So, like Tarek said, we tried to develop an environment that will foster discovery and learning for children. So with that, we kept all the finishes with more of a neutral palette with those pops of vivid color, not to distract from the exhibits, as well as wayfinding through patterns in the carpeting. I'll put that in a minute. So the floor plan pretty much has 3 finishes. So you have floor tile, which will be in the restrooms. We have luxury vinyl tile, which will be in multi-purpose and the wet exhibit areas in the back. And then we have carpeting that'll be throughout. So all of these materials have longer warranties and hold up, and we've made sure that we've kind of tested everything and that it'll hold the sand of time. So we have 6 carpets within this whole building. 3 are within the actual exhibit areas. It's kind of hard to. So as you can see in the rendering here, we have the different carpets that kind of distinguish those areas of exhibit, and throughout that space you have a lighter carpet that will kind of become that wayfinding for the kids so that they're not running through everywhere as much. Also within that space we have just the soffits that'll be painted, and I'll show you the paint.
Yes. As an example, we're kind of selective with the color, so that red soffit where you see the Monroe logo right there, that's one of those examples of a pop of color, but we really want to focus the color in the exhibits that are going to come later. So in the summertime when the building itself is complete, you're going to go in there and, well, there's no exhibits, but it's a pretty well finished space. And it's not going to be very colorful because we're waiting for those exhibits that are going to come between the summer and the new year to really complete the space.
And then within that space, we also have the wood ceiling in there to add that little bit of warmth in. There's a lot of gray, give a little contrast, and kind of bring you back to that gift shop entry area.
Here's another example, kind of looking back at the entry. Again, kind of those pops of color. So you saw the red, here's the yellow. They kind of play, they develop kind of space making for children so they can identify when they're in this corner. Well, they remember the red corner was where that exhibit was. So a lot of it's about discovery, a lot of it's about memory, and it's kind of challenging them to use the space, but not challenging in a way as an adult would be challenged in the space. It needs to be comfortable and warm. So We'll go through the finishes for you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
So, like I said earlier, we've got our 6 carpets. That's going to be the majority of that exhibit space. So you have your 2 circulation carpets that will guide everybody through all the exhibits. We have just our walk-off carpet in the vestibule, and then we have our exhibit carpets here. So they're all within that same range of manufacturing, and they just vary in color slightly. So it's not going to be a huge difference, but it'll be a slight difference to know that one's an exhibit area and one's a wayfinding path. Within this space, we also have our LVT here. So LVT is going to be over in that multi-purpose room, so that's going to be really good if, you know, kids are spilling stuff, they're running around. It's going to be really good for cleanability and durability and things like that. Like we said, the colors kind of spread out throughout. We have just our overall white on the majority of the walls. We have our light gray, which will be on some of the accent walls. And then the yellow through the red will be accents throughout on the soffit, like we see here with the red, here with the orange. On the other side, there's purple and blue. And then in the multi-purpose, you'll have those other colors. So it's not going to be too bold there. And then on our ceiling, we have our darker gray ceiling to just kind of have everything blend away so that it doesn't take away from the exhibits.
Basically, took every primary color and put it in this project. But very selectively. There's not a wall of yellow.
We also have our wood. So the wood there is going to be the ceiling color, the doors, the wood base that we have in there. And then when we come over to the rest of the space, it's kind of muted. Try to follow through that same idea of keeping with that very muted neutral palette and then adding those pops throughout. So the only other pops that we have will be in the restrooms here. So within the restrooms, the white and the yellow would be in the girls, and the white and the orange would be in the boys to give them that distinction between them. It's just on one wall in the back, so it's not going to be too much going on. Within that space, we also have our floor tile in the bathrooms. So it's a little bit of texture, better for slip resistance, and just kind of give them a little bit of an like elegant feel. We have quartz countertops in there, so that's going to be really good for cleanability wise and durability. And our gray partitions. The other thing that we have in the space, in the multi-purpose and workrooms, we have laminate casework. So the majority of the casework will be this as the base cabinets, and then this one right here as our countertops, and then in the gift shop it'll be this as the countertops, just to give a little distinction between the two. And then something special that we kind of added in are the ticket carts that can be wheeled around the space. So the ticket carts have this base laminate, and then they have this light up top. So we'll actually have a color changing LED in there to kind of attract the kids and kind of get some interest going with that as well.
And that's what we have for the interior finishes. We didn't bring the exterior today. I'd say over the next 3 months, we'll probably start to see it materialize on the site. Again, we really selected finishes on durability and longevity. The darker carpet, spills happen. You know, you're not going to spill wine in the science center. So by kids spilling water, soda, likewise, just a neutral palette that helps provide a comfortable space for children and their caregivers.
Very good.
So again, with that, a lot of the colors that you see out here are going to be on that facade as well out front. I've said it several times before, you're not going to see anything in Union County, Monroe or Union County like this. This is going to be quite the eye catcher, attention grabber, and we've done that on purpose. One, again, to attract the kids and create excitement, but also we're going to stand out. You always have to stand out to gain the attraction or gain that first look. So we're really excited about this, and again, within budget, choosing materials that are durable as most of you know, stuff gets broken down and worn down, especially when you have kids in it all day long. So we want that durability, but we also want that functionality and the aesthetic look of it too. So Tarek Emily did an awesome job, and the designer out of Boston, Jonathan, is very passionate about choices as well. So he's helped us in the process. So we think we have a really good product going forward. So we're really excited, and you probably will start getting calls once they start doing the work on the outside, because it is going to look so very different than anything we've seen before. And I'll make the same offer anytime you all want to come down there. Let me know. We do need hard hats on both sides. I think I mentioned that, but they should have some. I have extra. But it's a neat project, and we are running our fundraising campaign right now for both of these projects, and we are garnering some pretty good attention throughout the county on some funds to help us offset some of the costs for this, which is good. We don't have any firm thing to announce yet, but we do have some possibilities on the horizon. Be happy to answer any questions. Tarek, can I keep these? So I'll have these as well in my office and help walk you through anything later on if you have any other questions.
Pete, did I hear you say you had 2 leasable spaces or rental spaces inside the?
Yeah, so if you look, we've got the regular kids' birthday party room, which is kind of up top right, up here. So mostly kids' birthday parties.
So how big is that space going to be? Do you know?
Do you remember offhand?
600 square feet.
600. So not too big, but not too small. And then this temporary exhibit area. So the way a lot of these science centers and museums, we are able to either rent or get granted temporary exhibits based on how big they are. So if we don't have one at the time, or even if we do have one, we can move that exhibit out of there, and that can be corporate event space.
Okay.
So it's, I want to say, 4,000 square feet roughly.
Okay, cool.
So it's a good sized space that we'll use. We have other, I want to say toys, but like big blue blocks and stuff for kids to do in that area while we don't have a temporary exhibit. But the goal is to have temporary exhibits in there to keep stuff new. So the stuff in the main area, that stuff pretty much is going to stay all the time. But we want to have these temporary traveling exhibits come in so it's something new. So the kids want to come for see something different, or the parents want to see something different. Most of the kids are happy with what's in there, but the parents want to see some new stuff. And instead of us buying new exhibits every 2 years, we dedicate space in the temporary exhibit area to accomplish that.
That's good.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Pete.
Thank you, y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Item 3, fiscal year 2019-20 budget work session. Review trends, fund balance, debt service.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. We're here for another year's worth. It doesn't seem like a year should have passed already, but it has. I'm going to do this in the same format that I did last year. I think that went pretty well. Please stop me anytime during the presentation if you have any questions or comments. The format, we'll start out with the revenue trends. We'll talk about how our revenues are coming in, talk about where our fund balance is at, look at the debt schedule, and then we'll get on to the departmental requests. Property tax revenue. As you can see, the revenue collection is in the second to last column. In 2019, we projected 0.2% growth, and we actually ended up with 1.6% growth, so we were excited about that. It's just so volatile. The number that we got in 2020 for the assessed valuation actually went down, but I don't know why. That's just the number that we simply get from the Union County tax assessor. There'll be a firm number that we get in the summer when we actually get the file to send out the bills, and I'm sure that'll be a little bit more. It typically is. I think they stay a little conservative with their initial numbers that they send over, or at least that's been the history. Our collection rates are really good. Our tax collector does an excellent job. She's been improving these year over year. But right now, we're not projecting really any growth next year over this year. The sales tax collection history, we actually projected it to stay flat in 2019, and it went up by 5.9%. One thing that is interesting is the percent of the value-based distribution did go from 8.52 to 9.12. This is the result of the increase in our property tax rate and the decrease in the county's property tax rate. We went up 3 cents, they went down 3 cents, and it gave us another 0.5%, 6.6% of the distribution. So based on that, we have presented about 2.5% growth in the revenue collection in the sales tax. Utility sales tax collection. This is the sales tax that people get on their electric bills. It goes up to the state, and then it gets redistributed to all the cities. This revenue has just kind of been flat. It's just fluctuating around that 3.3, 3.4 million mark, and just really not doing anything, but at least it's staying consistent. We're just projecting it to grow it, or to go down a little bit, minus 0.2%, which is only a few $1,000s, but it's just not doing anything. Fund balance. Our current unassigned fund balance is at just over $5 million. We target this to use for one-time projects, deferred maintenance. We don't want to do anything out of this money that would cause increases in operational costs without any increases in some annual revenue. As you can see, we don't have a lot of revenue growth to work with, so we're real careful and mindful of any programs that we start that they don't increase that operating. Throughout the presentation, you'll see different replacements and purchases of capital items that were targeted at the unassigned fund balance, and they are just one-time purchases. Here's the general fund balance activity. You see the $5 million that we're at. It was as of March 4th. We're still at that balance. Throughout the rest of the fiscal year, we are projecting some favorable collections in ad valorem tax and in sales tax. We do anticipate some savings in personnel costs. These are typically from vacant positions. And we did save some debt service because we have not finalized all the debt for the police department and the senior center. And there was some money that was budgeted for those projects. So that obviously won't get spent. And proposed use of unassigned fund balance, that's what I just mentioned. We're using $2.7 million to fund a lot of the projects in this budget, and that'll leave just shy of $4 million as of July 1st. Typically, we have to recalculate our unassigned fund balance every year as of July 1st, so that number could change. Things that affect it are the our reserve is 25% of the subsequent year budget. So if our budget goes up, then our reserve amount goes up. When the reserve amount goes up, then this number could go down, or just, depending on where we come in revenue-wise or savings-wise, this is just a target number at this point. Debt payments. This is our schedule for the next several years. As you can see, in 2020, it does jump up considerably. Most of this is due to the senior center and the police headquarters. Right now, they're on track to come online or close for financing in August. There's really not too much dropping off. It stays pretty consistent between 4.2, 4.3 million, year over year. So there's really no room for any kind of, growth. We can't use stuff that's rolling off maybe for another project. It's just pretty flat, which is actually good. At least it's not spiking. But now the meat of the presentation, we get into all the things that are being proposed citywide. We'll highlight the proposed changes by department. The things that you will see include new and non-routine initiatives, and it's anything greater than $10,000. And then what we also have included this year are some total replacement dollars that have been allocated to the departments, just so you know what kind of dollars we're spending on some of the replacement items. And you'll also see there was quite a few positions requested throughout the budget, and unfortunately there's just not enough bandwidth to approve those, but I'll still go over those so you know what's been requested or where our needs lie. And then we'll discuss the remaining proposed budget schedule. Our budget metrics, 1 cent of our tax rate equates to $332,000. This is just for the ad valorem. It doesn't include the motor vehicle portion. So if we want to generate $100,000, we need 0.3 cents of our property tax rate to be able to do that. Citywide initiatives. This year, we're proposing a 4% merit increase for all employees. This is an increase from the 2% that was budgeted this year. It's based on an employee's performance, so it can be anywhere from 0 to 4%, and the merit increase is given on their anniversary date. We are also increasing the city contribution for health insurance by 5%.
That was going up.
Sir?
I must have misunderstood there when they came to one of our meetings with the proposal, said it was, they didn't use the word flat, but the way I understood it, it wasn't gonna go up.
The health insurance, I think
I don't remember exactly.
The trend that our Mark IV explained to us was that they were forecasting a trend of increasing cost of medical expenses, and although our plan was not experiencing a year-over-year increase this year, we were recommending to council that we try to get ahead of that, bank some money in the fund that this is represented there, so that when the increases start coming next year, year after, that it's not as big of a hit that it otherwise might be.
So this 5% is really going
Defensive. It's a defensive move.
Okay, so it's not that we're paying 5% because the insurance is going up. We're doing 5% because we're going to bank it for future. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
this is city premium only. There are no increases to the
Maybe I did
employees.
understand him all the time. Okay.
We're also increasing the city contribution for retirement at 1.2%. This is mandated by the state. It's not
Mandate.
right. We, of course, have included the air show. Net of revenue, the cost is $90,000. We've included outside agency funding at $319,000. We've included an increase in economic development cash incentive grants. The total budget currently is $615,000. We've increased the tuition reimbursement program. The total now is at $60,000. There's been quite an uptick of interest in continuing education. We've added the debt service for the center theater, and that shouldn't say and parking area, I apologize. Just center theater is included. We've also included debt service for the police headquarters. As you can see, the tax increase covers that amount. And debt service for the senior center. And when we add the center theater, it doesn't quite support itself with its revenues. We don't anticipate it to for a little while anyway. Hopefully it will, but there is a subsidy included for the center theater for the first year of operation.
How much increase this year was on the outside agency funding? Or if it was an increase?
It was an increase.
Round
I
figure.
want to say it was around 30,000.
Increase,
Yes.
okay. Close enough, thank you.
Okay. And now the department requests. Pete had spoke with council at the strategic meeting last month about, or earlier this month rather, about a new full-time communications specialist that has been included.
Is this amount benefits and everything?
Yes, it is.
That's a complete package,
Yes.
okay?
The next department is facilities maintenance. We separated this into its own division, and these are the items that we're funding. On the top half, the Dickerson gym roof is in dire need of repair. The original roof was from 1989, and the membrane is shrinking, resulting in leaks throughout the facility. We've got to replace this gym if we want to continue to use the gymnasium. HVAC replacements, this is annual maintenance. This is the annual amount that we usually fund. We want to do an addition to the facility maintenance shop to secure our vehicles at that location. The Highway 74 annual bed maintenance, this is the ongoing project to do plantings down 74. We've also budgeted to make repairs to the plaza. This is electrical to help, keep some of the decorations from going out, at Christmas time, lighting. And we've also budgeted capital equipment replacement of $16,000.
On this, I hate to keep stopping you, but I don't know.
No, please
I don't know
do.
when you want questions.
Yes, please
On this
do.
repair to the plaza, and I heard what you said, that's not any money in there for any Christmas lightings or any Christmas decorations, or I'm sure they're not, is it?
No,
Do we have anything in that particular area for that?
no.
Okay. So there's no money been added to the budget for any Christmas decorations?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay.
Excluded were some other improvements, such as ADA to some of the facilities, City Hall parking lot amenities, some painting at the rec centers, and we also excluded a position request for a full-time facility maintenance worker too.
Another question. On the Dickerson gym roof and HVAC and so forth, it says fund balance. Now, I know what fund balance is, but we're talking about this amount of money is coming out, what we got in fund balance now. Is that correct?
Yes,
In other words, we got 5 million, so this is gonna be coming out, this money is coming out of that 5 million.
it is. That 2.7 million down there at the bottom.
Right.
If you follow the unassigned column down,
Uh-huh.
we've got 5 million now. We've got some additions that we'll anticipate by the end of the year, and then we're taking another 2.7 away from
So when
it.
this budget's over with, we ain't gonna have 5 million.
We'll have 4,
Okay.
roughly.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Which rec centers needed to be painted?
Pardon me?
Which recreation centers needed to be painted? Do you know?
Can you help me out?
It was at all four of the, it was room and Dickerson,
Snow
Okay.
Park, Winchester.
Winchester, I heard Sutton Park
Okay.
and Dickerson.
Why would they decide to do a school?
This
Or?
was the cycle just to paint, just keep up with the schedule.
Yeah, and we just delayed it. Any other questions on facilities?
It seems like it's only $13,000.
Yeah.
If it needs painting, then let's keep it looking nice.
I don't understand.
I don't,
I
why,
mean, yeah, that's what I was getting at. If it needed painting, I mean, if it didn't, why would it be up there? And since there was such little money, why can't we go ahead and?
And include it?
Yeah. I mean, we want the rec centers to look as nice as possible.
right.
So,
Okay, we can make that change. As long as Larry, you okay?
There's consensus of council. I mean,
Yeah.
There are a number of equally prioritized requests that I didn't see where we could fund it. But if it's consensus of council, then make that adjustment.
All in favor on the vote?
Uh,
All right. Yeah, we got 4, 5, whatever. Yeah.
All right. Finance Department. We've included some new budgeting software. This will help us streamline the budget process and help us avoid needing additional staff to keep up with the process. It's just getting so large, it's really very inefficient. It's cumbersome the way it is, and there's some budgeting software out there that will really streamline the process and make it easier not only for finance but for the departments that use the software and submit their budget submissions electronically. We're also looking at excuse me, consulting services for other post-employment benefit study.
What is that?
We provide post-employment benefits to our retirees. Those benefits, we now have to book a liability on our books for those benefits that we provide. That liability is growing and growing and growing, and the LGC is targeting and looking at cities and encouraging them to do things to either fund that liability, so put money aside for it, or make changes to your plan to reduce that liability. Moody's also said that our current liability is unfavorable in relation to our credit rating. So we want to take a look at different things that we can do to minimize that liability, and a consultant to help with this would be appropriate.
Okay.
Capital replacements, these are just for some trucks and meter reading equipment. Excluded and delayed were personnel requests for a grant administrator, part-time position, and increases in hours for both a customer service rep and a warehouse buyer. Human resources, excluded and delayed were all staffing needs. Staffing was needed for both succession planning and just to meet the demands of our growing workforce. The office expansion is directly related to adding the staff, so that's excluded. And then the temporary labor is for policy development and review. We weren't able to fund that at this time. Engineering and street department, included and recommended. You'll see on a few slides the operations center parking lot pavement. This is the first of a 5-year project to target different areas over at the operations center and just repave and repair them. Some of the pavement is really getting old and starting to crumble. We're also doing restriping on some parking lots parking lot resurfacing at Dickerson Park, resurfacing the streets in Hillcrest Cemetery. We're building a salt storage shed for winter events. And the capital replacement there is primarily a dump truck that'll be funded from POW bill funds. Items that were not funded in the engineering department. The parking lot resurfacing across the street out back here at the railroad depot. Sidewalk maintenance did not get funded. This new parking lot, this is the one that will be in front of the senior center. We were trying to wedge this in there. We think that would really, be the finishing touch on all of that work that we're going to be doing over there. But the debt service on this was $125,000 to $130,000 a year. We just could not wedge this into the budget. We had to pull it out to fund some other things. Several positions were requested there, 6 actually, none of which were funded. And a pavement condition index survey was denied, as well as intersection analysis and the downtown Monroe parking study.
Where was he? And you may have said, I may have missed this, I was just looking at some other figures. Sidewalk maintenance, is that just in a particular area or the city maintenance period? So sidewalk maintenance, is that just general all of it, or is that just one particular set of sidewalk somewhere that's gonna be laid?
We use the funds to develop a project that we go to the Public Enterprise Committee to get approval on. And this is intended for contract labor due to work.
Okay.
Any other questions, engineering? Planning and community development.
Let me back, I'll go.
Sure. Let's go back.
The street maintenance, construction, wait a minute, I'm reading the wrong line. Pavement conditions survey, $55,000. I know what a survey is, I know what pavement is, and et cetera. What we surveying, what is that $55,000 for? I mean, what does it do?
Jim?
We have an outside firm that comes in and evaluates all of the payments, and we use that survey to help us rate and determine which streets need to be paid in order.
Okay. I can give you all that. Okay, thank you.
Planning and community development. We weren't able to grant the entire request, but we did include half of each of the redevelopment areas, Concord Avenue and the Winchester neighborhood. So we've got $400,000 in there for those projects. We did have to delay a planner position that was requested.
Okay, now on the Concord Avenue, 250,000 requested to make the 5. We got part of that in the budget now, is that correct, or in the statement?
They actually requested $500,000 and we gave them $250,000.
Okay, but we also have some in reserve, do we not, like 300,000 or 400,000, 500,000?
We've had reserve money that's been put in the budget each year from 2015, but we have brought before the council 5 properties for offer to purchase, and we're close on closing. We're waiting on a couple things to finish up that will pretty much take most of that.
I recall, thank you, yes. Okay, I got that.
Thank you. Code enforcement and building standards. There was a request for 2 positions, which were both denied. And these include the vehicles. That's why they're significantly higher. Police department, the capital equipment replacements are their annual police car per the replacement schedules. We've excluded or delayed some position requests for full-time crime scene technician, 2 officers. The temporary police officers are usually retirees that'll come back and help us out. And we also denied the increase in their general supply budget. Fire department, we've included breathing apparatus for Station 6, dumpster enclosure at Station 4. We've increased the education incentive program in that department. They're replacing their Oshkosh Airport Blaze unit. This is that big green fire truck. We'll do an installment financing for that since it's such a large purchase. We'll finance that over 10 years. And the capital equipment replacement includes a truck, radios, a rescue boat, replacement of the fire alarm at Station 2, and imaging cameras.
So breathing apparatus for Station 6, are we putting Station 6 online?
This will be to equip that truck that goes to Station 6. Assuming we put that temporary station online. We do have a reserve truck we can put there, we just don't have breathing apparatus.
Are we hoping to get Station 6 open within this next year, or this is just kind of pre-planning for it?
We are hoping to get it open, yes. That is our goal.
Good.
There were positions requested for Station 6. You'll see down below the fire captains and the shift safety and training captains. We weren't able to fund those at this time. We also weren't able to increase the overtime pay. There's various renovations at 3 of the stations that were not included, and the addition of the burn building at the training center was not recommended as well.
Before Lisa leaves this section, both the 2.5 positions in police and the 3 captain positions in fire would represent my number 1 priority for staffing. And if we see a more robust forecast in property values and property revenues come from the county June, July, I would ask council to be forwardly sensitive to a request that I would expect to come back to council with in July, August, perhaps, to look at funding some or all of those positions. Again, public safety is my number 1 priority, and with emphasis on beginning to staff and add capability to man Fire Station 6.
Is this what you're talking about here on the delayed on the police crime scene technician? Is that the
Well,
offer
the
you're
2
talking about?
full-time positions and the crime scene detection technician.
So 3 for police, in addition to personnel for Station 6, right?
Yes,
Good.
that would be my good proposal, just shooting from the hip.
How many crime scene technicians have you got, Chief? Any?
No, sir, we don't have any.
Well, I thought you sent someone out. Well, I don't always see either, but I thought someone went out and did that.
No, sir, our detectives are still doing it, so if they're on call, they have to carry their own crime scene stuff to do it, so.
Oh, okay. Okay.
One question, do we have a greater need for the fire captains and the training captains than we do for firemen?
They were to staff Station 6. Is that what you were asking?
I would ask maybe Ron if you could kind of give the logic and insight of leading with captains as opposed to the firefighters for Fire Station 6.
Absolutely, thank you, sir. We had in the request 3 captains and then 3 shift captains, shift training and safety officers. The 3 captains would be to start that staffing at Station 6. Our logic there was to, on each of our trucks, we have a captain, a driver, and 2 firefighters. Our logic there is to fund it to do 3 captains at Station 6, and then we would pull firefighters or drivers from other stations to finish out that company. So that's the reason we'd be starting with the captains there. The other training and safety captains would be the second in command, so to speak, on that ship, like a battalion captain, so to speak. Their primary responsibility would be to serve as that full-time ship safety officer, to serve as the safety officer, the training officer for that shift. Some other duties that they would be carrying out also as far as investigations of minor incidents, code enforcement needs, those type of things.
By pulling firemen from other stations, would they be fully, still have enough to be fully staffed?
No, ma'am, it would, I mean, we would have to,
Take 300 to do that.
that's the only way that we would be able to, in other words, we'd have to pull from some of the other companies until we get to a point that we're able to staff that Station 6. It would take 12 people to fully staff Station 6. So our proposals to start with those 3 and then continue to work towards that goal of 4 per shift rather than the 3 per shift.
But initially it would be 3 on engine 6 per shift.
That is our goal.
Right.
Even with these 3 positions, there would be days that it would be extremely difficult to maintain 3.
It could be 2.
At all the stations. It could be. Yes, it could be.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Any more comments on police or fire? Fire department also had a few fee schedule changes. Really, the fee amounts stay the same. We're just changing the wording to match the North Carolina Fire Code. Information technology. The first item up there, intrusion detection and prevention system. The full cost of this system is $250,000. This system monitors our network, can identify malicious activity, report it, and block it. In order to implement this type of system, we would need that full-time system administrator 3. Since we couldn't afford to do all of that, we excluded the position for now, but we did put some funding toward this intrusion detection prevention system. We'll hope to fund the remainder of it maybe next year. The next item, multi-channel fiber conversion. This will replace existing fiber equipment with a multi-channel connection to replace the single connections that we have now. Some additional licensing will replace 6 power distribution units. And the last item is a mail server and radio replacement. We also excluded a full-time system administrator 1. This was needed for succession planning in order to handle the day-to-day maintenance needs. Parks and Recreation. We've included AEDs for community centers. Dickerson Park tennis court parking area. Some fence replacements. These are various. They replace the oldest falling down ones first. We'll add a picnic shelter at the old armory. We need a truck for the parks maintenance superintendent. Greenway construction, we did have a 7-year annual contribution of $100,000. That expired, but we'd like to continue the contributions. We have money accumulated, and you'll start seeing some movement on some of the projects that are in that master plan. Capital equipment replacement includes the replacement of a leaf truck and 2 mowers. And we're also replacing the control link on the, or excuse me, we're installing control link on the bathrooms at Creft Park. We did exclude the entry signage for the parks. And the fee schedule changes that are proposed are to add a rate for gym use for practice purposes. The rate would be $40 to $50 an hour for 3 hours max. We're currently charging for security officer fees. We just need to include it in our fee schedule. We currently refund half of the rental fee for a damage deposit. We just need to include that in the fee schedule. And we'd like to add a note clarifying that nonprofit rental discounts are for Union County entities only. And for the athletic team fees, we'd like to add a discount that would be for all youth sports participating that meet the eligibility requirements. Residents only.
I have a question regarding the bathrooms. So basically, which bathrooms are open during the day?
Currently, Downtown Wanda is open during the day. We're open at Craft during the summer months, which we go over and lock it during our business hours, which are like 9 to 5. And same thing with Sunset Park.
Okay.
But they're not automated. Craft is the next one we'd like to automate, because if we do that, then Downtown Wanda stays open until sunset.
Okay.
On the automation system. Craft Park will be the same with an automated.
We've had several calls in the last couple of weeks regarding the bathrooms. Is there not another option to have them open?
The other option would be to hire people that could unlock and lock them, and that's part of our problem, is limited funding with building attendants.
Okay.
We're using them on weekends now.
Gotcha.
And, they have to also make sure the restrooms stay clean throughout the day.
Right.
Because we're gonna leave them unlocked, they're gonna get dirty. And on weekends, it's very problematic because we don't have enough staff that can go and actually clean those bathrooms and keep them throughout the day. But, again, once we get correct on that automated system, we can unlock, there's some limited availability with our field attendants that can, we'll add that to the rotation and check it and clean it every day.
Okay.
So our goal is to hopefully eventually have all of our restrooms on automated locks.
Right.
And once that happens, then that opens up the ability to, because we agree, having restrooms in the parks, we'd like to have them open.
Yeah. What about the signage? So is this without the entry signage for the parks, are all the other parks, so which parks?
This one was for the last two, because this one we have, put signage at Parks Meeting.
Okay.
We have one additional sign that needs to go to Crest. This year we have funded this year's budget.
Okay.
To put the sign at Dickerson Park and at Crest Park. But Crest kind of unique because you don't have those ball fields that are
Sure.
out there. So this funding that was delayed, we have a small ball field sign, and that is the Crest, but then we have a larger sign at Parks Meeting. And then once we get that done, everything will have its new signs.
So the only one that would be without a sign right now would be the Creft Park?
The ball field at Crest Park, and then of course Parks Meeting, that's that complex.
Okay.
Any other questions on Parks and Rec?
One, this, rate for, $40 rate for practice fees, is that charged to like an organized team?
Yeah, that's correct. What we have from time to time, we'll have folks who want to for practice. And we've had that, but we do that on a very limited basis. And there's a note that's gonna be on the fee schedule that's not included up there that will tell us, that will tell the person that it's on a limited basis. And it's based on availability, that we don't have other programs that are taking precedence. Because anytime, it's a Winchester gym or Dickerson or whatever, those get priority, those kind of programs. But we have a gym that is in the underutilized time, and we can generate some revenues, and we wanted something in here where we can actually charge that $40, and which is for, you might get AAU practice, or some other type of, organized team that runs around for practice.
Any other questions? Bridget, do you know if dinner is ready? I'm not sure if you want a break here before we start golf course, or if you want me to keep going. It's up to y'all.
How much longer is it I know you don't know exactly, but what are we looking at about how much time?
I've still got maybe 10 or so slides left. I've got all the enterprise funds to go.
What's the council's wishes? I think we break. All right, break. Is the safe ready? Okay, let's take a dinner break and, what time we need? 35, 40 minutes, 30 minutes? All right. How much time you need? It's 5:15 now, 5:17. Back at 6 o'clock, is that too long?
Well, I have a 7 o'clock meeting, so
Okay.
I have to excuse myself.
You want, well, we can, that's 45 minutes.
Take a 5-minute break and come back.
That make better
You
sense.
gonna eat in 5 minutes? You gonna eat?
Oh, I didn't know it was eating.
Yeah, we have dinner.
I had no idea.
Come on, be with us. You need to be where,
I got a meeting at 7, Lisa does
so
too.
if we cut this back at,
Marion does too.
well, let's be back at, 10 minutes to 6. Is that okay with the council?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll break, at this time, be back at 10 minutes to 6.